Welcome to this explainer. Okay, if you're tuning in today, there is a very good chance you're feeling that quiet, creeping exhaustion of hustle culture. For years, we've been sold this idea that career success absolutely requires a constant, unending grind. We've treated work-life balance like it's just a secondary perk, like a nice to have, or maybe something you get to negotiate for only after you've sacrificed your weekends for a solid decade. But here's the thing. The paradigm is actively shifting right now, and the data proves it. Today, we're going to look at the anatomy of high-paying, truly sustainable careers that actually leave room for, life. We'll uncover exactly how the smartest professionals are building lucrative paths without burning out, relying directly on the source research to show us how it's done.
Okay, let's dive into this and shatter a massive myth right out of the gate. Does work-life balance just mean working less? For a lot of highly ambitious people, the instinct is to say, I don't want an easy job. I want to make an actual impact. And for the longest time, balanced roles were totally misunderstood as being less ambitious or somehow less serious. But as the research clearly shows, choosing a sustainable career path does not mean you lack drive. And it certainly doesn't mean you're running away from hard work. It simply changes the shape of how your effort is applied.
You see, these balanced careers are fundamentally structured differently. We are talking about roles structured around predictable schedules, much healthier boundaries, and sustainable workloads. But the single biggest shift here? It's moving to an output-focused culture rather than expecting constant availability. The paradigm has completely flipped. High performance is no longer being defined by how fast you reply to a Slack message at 9 p.m. on a Friday. It's defined by what you actually produce. That is a massive, game-changing transition from a presence-based culture to a true impact-based culture.
Now, what's really interesting about this is the sheer scale of the breaking point. Burnout rates have climbed past 70%. 70%! This isn't just a few people feeling a little tired on a Monday morning. This is a systemic failure of the traditional overtime culture. And because of this massive surge in burnout, there has been an unprecedented demand for careers with clear, defined endings. Professionals are aggressively questioning that old trade-off where a higher salary automatically meant an unspoken expectation that you literally belonged to your employer 24/7.
So we're looking at a massive contrast here. It's the old standard of constant availability versus the new reality of contained effort. Constant availability is that high-pressure field demanding weekend replies, that digital tether that never really lets you log off. Contained effort, on the other hand, means the focus is entirely on a dedicated, specific time frame, and then protecting your recovery time. In these roles, days follow natural arcs. You give it your absolute all during working hours, and then, this is the key part, your evenings and weekends are protected by design, not by some constant, exhausting negotiation with your boss.
Section 1. The ROI of rest. Why companies want balance.
The push for balance isn't just a worker demand anymore. It's actually a highly profitable business strategy. So, the crucial point is this: 1.5 times a worker's salary. That is what it costs a business to replace someone who quits. Businesses have finally woken up to the fact that demanding endless availability just breeds massive turnover. And turnover, it is incredibly expensive. Centralized, high-stress models are failing because they constantly bleed top talent. Employers are figuring out that roles enabling recharge actually widen their talent pools and build intense, long-lasting loyalty. And the hard data absolutely backs this up. Let's look at the gains from a flexible environment. Turnover drops by an astonishing 25 to 40%. Productivity actually goes up because fatigue fades away. It attracts top-tier talent who are actively seeking sustainability. But my absolute favorite stat here: balanced teams outperform exhausted ones by 20 to 30%. Universities, clinics, major tech firms, they are all prioritizing predictable schedules now because they know for a fact that rested minds produce sharper, much more consistent results.
Section 2. Top careers for 2026.
So what do these jobs actually look like in the real world? Let's walk through some of these specific roles and their sustainability features. First up, actuaries and risk analysts. They do highly structured analytical work with predictable deadlines, which means practically zero after-hours escalation. Then you have cloud architects and DevOps, high compensation but with incredible remote-first flexibility, often prioritizing asynchronous collaboration over constantly putting out fires. Next, business intelligence and data analytics. Notice this is output-focused analysis. We are definitely not talking about those grueling 80-hour-week data science trading roles here. And finally, corporate HR and people ops. These are structured roles in mature companies with predictable workflows, not the junior HR rep who has to work every single weekend campus fair. The common thread? They all prioritize focused work over endless reactivity.
Let's move to how this builds a typical healthy daily rhythm.
Because this structured approach translates into a workday that actually makes sense. Mornings are completely blocked off for deep work, right when your personal energy peaks highest. Midday is for smoothly handling collaboration, meetings, and clients in a totally predictable way. And then the afternoon is dedicated to winding down. You tie up those loose ends decisively so there is absolutely no mental spillover into your evening. You end your tasks and you trust that tomorrow can handle the rest.
Section 3. The emotional work of balance.
Now, achieving this isn't just about scheduling perfectly. It's very much about psychology. When you first step out of hustle culture, you might actually feel guilty for having what feels like an easy day. Or you might feel this intense pressure to prove your worth without relying on the visible optics of just looking exhausted all the time. That's exactly why I love this quote from the source. Successful professionals in these fields treat boundaries as fuel. The source text shares this brilliant anecdote about a data analyst who closes Tableau promptly at 4 o'clock to go coach soccer. And they don't apologize for it. They use that time to completely disconnect, and because they do, they return significantly sharper the very next day. Top performers master this emotional steadiness. They log off knowing their impact endures.
Section 4. Evaluating your next role.
And this brilliantly illustrates the practical playbook you need, because many roles love to advertise flexibility without actually supporting it in practice. To make sure a company's promise of balance isn't just empty corporate jargon, here are the concrete evaluation steps you should take. Step 1. Explicitly check their after-hours communication expectations. Step 2. Assess if performance is measured by actual output or just availability. Ask them point-blank how success is graded. Step 3. Observe if they work asynchronously or demand instant responses. Step 4. Ask about typical overtime during their busy seasons. And Step 5, maybe the most telling one, see if managers visibly respect time off. The source even mentions that savvy candidates are increasingly using platforms like cloudhire to properly evaluate these true work structures before they ever accept an offer.
Because the absolute underlying truth here is that a role's culture matters far more than its title. You could literally have two people with the exact same job title, say a senior data analyst, and they can experience totally different levels of balance simply because of their leadership's expectations. A job might look phenomenal on paper, it might pay incredibly well, but if the underlying culture secretly rewards constant availability, well, that is just a direct road back to long-term burnout.
The future of work is not simply about being faster or more automated. It is about being more selective. As human effort shifts much more towards judgment, creativity, and care, we really have to recognize that those specific qualities cannot be sustained under constant strain. Which brings us to a final, really important question. Are you aligning your effort with longevity? Is your current career path a lifelong craft that blends impact with ease? Or is it honestly just a countdown to exhaustion? Meaningful impact does not require constant sacrifice. Keep that in mind as you map out your next big career move. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and I'll see you next time.